Captain Jiwan Han stood on the bridge of the Perseverance, watching Earth grow larger on the view screen. After 3 years traveling to the distant colony of New Hope, she was finally coming home. Her crew of 200 civilians and families celebrated in the halls behind her. They had no idea what was about to happen. The first warning came from Earth's orbital defense station. A frantic message cut through the celebration. Unknown vessels detected. Massive energy signatures. They're not responding to hails. Then the communication went dead. Jiwan's stomach dropped. She ordered her ship to stop, still 1,000,000 kilometers from Earth. What she saw next would haunt her forever. Dozens of massive ships, each 5 times the size of any human vessel, surrounded Earth like predators circling prey. They were beautiful in a terrible way, with smooth dark hulls and glowing blue engines. For a moment, Jiwan hoped this was first contact with an advanced alien race. Maybe they came in peace. The hope died when the first beam of light struck New York City. From space, it looked like a camera flash. But Jiwan knew better. That beam had just killed millions of people in an instant. The alien ships fired again and again. London vanished in light. Tokyo burned. Mumbai, Mexico City, Cairo, one after another, Earth's great cities died. Admiral Minho Park's voice came through on emergency channels. He commanded Earth's defense forces from the lunar base. All ships, engage the enemy. Protect Earth at all costs. His voice was steady, but Jiwan could hear the fear underneath. Earth's military had 300 ships. The aliens had 80. But size and technology mattered more than numbers. Human missiles struck alien shields and exploded harmlessly. Railgun slugs bounced off their hulls. Energy weapons scattered like water on glass. The aliens didn't even bother to dodge. They simply continued their methodical destruction of Earth's surface. When human ships got too close, the aliens swatted them aside with casual ease. Jiwan watched her people die, unable to help. Dr. Suji Kang, the Perseverance's science officer, worked frantically at her station. "Captain, I'm analyzing their shield frequencies. There has to be a pattern, something we can exploit." Her fingers flew across the controls, scanning the alien vessels with every sensor they had. Engineer Daeho Choi joined her, his face pale but determined. "Their shields pulse in a rhythm, see? Every 3.7 seconds, there's a tiny fluctuation." He pointed at the data streaming across the screen. Suji shook her head. "That's not enough. The fluctuation only weakens the shield by 2%. Our weapons still can't penetrate." She slumped in her chair, defeated, but Daeho wasn't giving up. He pulled up the Perseverance's FTL drive specifications. "What if we don't use weapons? What if we use our FTL drives? When we jump to faster than light speed, we create a massive energy field. If we overlapped multiple FTL fields at the exact moment of shield fluctuation, it could create a cascade failure," Suji finished, her eyes widening. "The shields would collapse from the inside." Then her expression fell. "But the ships creating the fields would be destroyed. It's a suicide run." Jiwan listened to their conversation. Her hands clenched into fists. Below, Earth continued to burn. Billions were already dead. If humanity didn't stop these aliens now, everyone would die. She opened a channel to Admiral Minho. "Admiral, we have a theory. It might work, but it requires ships to use their FTL drives as weapons. They won't survive." There was silence. Then Minho spoke, his voice heavy. "Send me the data. If it gives us a chance, we take it." 20 minutes later, every surviving human ship received the same order. Coordinate FTL, jumps around the alien flagship. Time it perfectly with the shield fluctuations. Create overlapping fields. Jiwan volunteered the Perseverance, but Minho refused. You have civilians aboard. Get them to safety. That's an order. Ji-Wan wanted to argue, but she knew he was right. She turned her ship away from Earth, preparing to flee to the Mars colony. Behind her, 90 human warships moved into position. 90 ships full of thousands of sailors who knew they were about to die. Admiral Minnow led them personally. He stood on the bridge of the Indomitable, Earth's largest battleship. Around him, his crew worked in silence. They had said their goodbyes. They had made their peace. Now they would make the aliens pay. All ships on my mark, Minnow said. The 90 ships surrounded the alien flagship in a sphere. Their FTL drives hummed to life, building up impossible amounts of energy. The aliens finally noticed, turning their weapons toward the human vessels. But it was too late. For Earth, Minnow whispered. Mark, 90 FTL drives activated simultaneously. 90 ships tried to jump to faster-than-light speed while sitting still. The laws of physics screamed in protest. Energy fields expanded, overlapped, merged into something chaotic and terrible. The alien flagship's shields flickered, then collapsed. The energy didn't stop. It tore through the alien hull like paper. The flagship exploded, taking a dozen nearby alien vessels with it. Ji-Wan watched from 1,000,000 kilometers away. The explosion lit up space like a new sun. When it faded, the alien flagship was gone. So were all 90 human ships. Admiral Minnow, thousands of brave sailors, all gone in an instant. But they had proven something crucial. The aliens could bleed. The remaining alien ships stopped firing. For the first time, they responded to human communication. A harsh, clicking voice spoke in broken English. You should have surrendered. You are primitives. How did you do this? No one answered. The alien ships gathered together, apparently communicating among themselves. Then, to everyone's shock, they turned and jumped to FTL. They fled. The great alien fleet, which had killed billions, ran away from humanity. Ji-Wan couldn't celebrate. Earth was a graveyard. 4 billion people dead. Every major city destroyed. The oceans boiled. The atmosphere choked with ash. But humanity had survived. Barely in the weeks that followed, recovery teams found something in the wreckage of destroyed alien ships. Computers, weapons, star charts, and most importantly, a database. Suji led the team that cracked the alien encryption. What they found made everyone's blood run cold. The aliens called themselves the Valorian Empire. They ruled 200 worlds across the galaxy. And they had done this before. 47 times before. 47 other species detected, attacked without warning, and exterminated. The Valorians believed in striking first, killing any potential rivals before they could become threats. Humanity was supposed to be the 48th, but humanity had survived. And now, armed with Valorian technology and knowledge, humanity would make sure the Valorians regretted ever coming to Earth. Ji-Wan stood in the ruins of Sol, her childhood home. Nothing remained but ashes and glass. She picked up a piece of twisted metal, once part of a building or a car or maybe someone's home. We will remember, she said quietly, and we will make them pay. The war had just begun. 15 years had passed since the Valorian attack. Earth was still healing, but it would never be the same. The blue planet now wore scars of brown and gray where cities once stood. Humanity had moved its capital to Mars, transforming the red planet into a fortress world. Every human alive now served a single purpose: prepare for the day the Valorians returned. General Ji-Wan Han walked through the shipyards of Mars, watching construction crews build humanity's revenge. She was older now, her hair touched with gray, her face marked by years of stress. But her eyes still burned with the same fire from that terrible day. She had spent 15 years preparing for this moment. "General, the retribution is ready for inspection," a young officer reported. Ji-Wan nodded and headed toward the massive warship floating in the construction bay. The Retribution was humanity's first true battleship, built from the ground up using Valorian technology they had captured. But it was more than just a copy. Human engineers had improved on the design. Commander Hyan Lee stood waiting on the bridge. He was young for a ship captain, only 35, but he had proven himself in countless simulations. "General, welcome aboard." "She's beautiful, isn't she?" Ji-Wan looked around the bridge. Every station gleamed with new technology. The walls were lined with weapon systems the Valorians had never imagined. "Can she fight?" "She can do more than fight," Hyan replied with a grim smile. "She can win." Deep in the research facilities beneath Mars's surface, scientist Yuna Shin worked on her own contribution to humanity's arsenal. She stood before a massive sphere of twisted metal and energy fields, her latest creation. "We call it a rift bomb," she explained to visiting military officers. "When detonated, it creates a tear in space-time. Anything within a kilometer is pulled into the rift and destroyed." One officer looked nervous. "Is it safe to handle?" Yuna laughed, but there was no humor in it. "The Valorians killed 4 billion of us without warning. Safe isn't what we're aiming for. Effective is what matters." The military had changed too. Every human child now received combat training from age 10. Universities taught weapons engineering alongside mathematics. Artists painted pictures of Earth burning, keeping the memory alive. Poets wrote verses about revenge. Humanity had transformed itself into something it never wanted to be, a warrior race in the shadows. Intelligence officer Jun Kim ran operations that most people never knew about. He sat in a dark room reviewing. Reports from deep cover agents scattered across the Valorian Empire. Over 15 years, he had built a network of spies and informants. Some were humans who had infiltrated alien worlds. Others were aliens themselves, species enslaved by the Valorians who were eager for any chance at freedom. One report made June sit up straight. It came from an agent on the Valorian military world of Korath Station. Second invasion fleet under construction. Timeline: 3 years until completion. Target: remaining human colonies. June immediately called General Ji-Wan. "They're coming back." 3 years. Ji-Wan felt her heart race, but her voice remained calm. "Then we have 3 years to act first." She called a meeting of humanity's military council. 20 leaders gathered in the war room beneath Mars, surrounding a holographic display of the galaxy. Ji-Wan activated the display, showing Korath Station. "This is where they're building the fleet that will attack us. I propose we don't wait for them to finish. We strike now." One admiral objected. "We're not ready. We only have 40 warships. Intelligence says Korath has twice that many defending it." "Numbers didn't save us last time," Ji-Wan replied. "Technology and tactics did. We have both now." "Commander Hyan, can your fleet take Korath?" Hyan studied the tactical display. "If we use the rift bombs as our opening move, yes. We hit them fast, hard, and without warning, just like they did to us." Another council member, an older woman who had lost her entire family on Earth, spoke up. "And after we win? What message does this send?" Ji-Wan's eyes were cold. "The same message they sent us, that we're not prey anymore. We're predators." The council voted. It wasn't unanimous, but the majority agreed. Humanity would strike first over the next 6 months. Hyan assembled his fleet. 20 warships, humanity's best, armed with weapons that would make the Valorians regret teaching humanity about advanced technology. Each ship carried rift bombs, plasma weapons reverse-engineered from Valorian designs, and the most dangerous weapon of all, humans with nothing left to lose. Lieutenant Hannah Bay commanded the Marine forces. She was smaller than most soldiers, but she had survived the battle for Earth as a teenager, fighting in the ruins of Bizon with nothing but a rifle and hatred. Now she led 2,000 Marines who would board Korath Station if the opportunity came. "Our job is simple," she told her troops during training. "Kill enemy soldiers. Free any prisoners. Make the Valorians afraid." Her Marines cheered. They were ready. Tactician Seok Wan, Hyun's second-in-command, planned every detail of the attack. He was a quiet man who rarely smiled, but his strategies had won every war game he had ever participated in. "We have one advantage," he told Hyun. "They think we're weak. They think we're still recovering. They don't know we've been preparing for this moment since the day they left." On the eve of departure, Ji-won visited the memorial on Mars. 4 billion names carved into black stone, covering an entire valley. She found her parents' names, her sister's name, her nephew who had been only 6 years old. "We're coming for them," she whispered. "Finally, we're fighting back." The fleet launched the next morning. 20 ships carrying 5,000 humans toward Valorian space. They traveled for 2 weeks through empty space, maintaining radio silence, hiding from any sensors that might detect them. In the research labs, Yuna continued working even after the fleet left. The rift bombs were just the beginning. She had other ideas, darker ideas. Weapons that would make the Valorians wish they had never discovered humanity. She worked 18 hours a day, driven by memories of watching Earth burn from her escape pod. June's intelligence network reported that the Valorians were completely unaware of the approaching human fleet. Good. Let them be surprised. Let them feel the same terror that humans had felt 15 years ago. Back on the Retribution, Commander Hyun sat in his quarters the night before they would arrive at Korath. He wrote letters to people he would never see again, because he knew there was a good chance he wouldn't survive this mission. But that was okay. Some things were worth dying for. Lieutenant Hannah checked her weapons one final time. Rifle, plasma pistol, combat knife, grenades. Everything in perfect condition. She looked at her reflection in the blade of her knife. "For Earth," she said to herself. It had become humanity's prayer, their battle cry, their reason for existing. The fleet dropped out of FTL at the edge of the Korath system. Sensors immediately detected the Valorian station and its defending fleet. 43 Valorian warships against 20 human vessels. By any logical calculation, humanity should run. But humanity had stopped being logical 15 years ago. "All ships," Commander Hyun broadcast to the fleet. "Arm rift bombs. Prepare for combat. Today, we send a message to the Valorian Empire. Today, we show them that humanity doesn't forgive. We don't forget. And we sure as hell don't run anymore." The human fleet advanced toward Korath Station. Behind them, 15 years of preparation, pain, and rage. Ahead of them, the beginning of humanity's revenge. Korath Station hung in space like a small moon, bristling with weapons and shields. 50,000 Valorian soldiers lived there, training for wars against species they considered inferior. 200,000 slaves from a dozen conquered races worked in the mines and factories, building weapons for their masters. None of them expected what was about to happen. The Valorian commander, a tall alien with blue-gray skin and 4 arms, sat in his command center monitoring routine patrols. His name was difficult for humans to pronounce, so intelligence files simply called him Target 1. He was reviewing reports when his sensor officer shouted an alert. "Commander, 20 unknown ships just appeared at the system's edge. They're not broadcasting identification codes." Target 1 felt annoyed rather than worried. Probably some merchant convoy that got lost. "Hail them. Demand they identify themselves or be destroyed." The Valorians had ruled this region of space for centuries. No one challenged them. The human ships didn't respond to the hails. They simply accelerated toward the station at maximum speed. Target 1 frowned. Activate defense fleet. I want those ships identified and stopped. 43 Valorian warships launched from the station, moving to intercept. They dwarfed the approaching human vessels. Each Valorian ship could theoretically destroy 3 or 4 human ships before taking damage. The math seemed simple. Commander Hyan watched the Valorian fleet approach on his view screen. Weapons status? Rift bombs armed and ready, his weapons officer reported. Plasma cannons charged. Missile tubes loaded. Wait until they're in range, Hyan said calmly. Let them get close. Let them think they have us. The Valorian ships opened fire first. Energy beams lanced through space toward the human fleet. But the human ships twisted and dodged with impossible agility. They were smaller, faster, built for maneuverability rather than raw power. Most of the Valorian shots missed entirely. Now, Hyan ordered, fire rift bombs. 20 spheres of twisted metal shot from the human ships toward the Valorian fleet. The Valorian commander saw them coming and laughed. Missiles? These primitives attack us with missiles? Shoot them down. But the rift bombs weren't normal missiles. When Valorian point defense weapons hit them, they detonated exactly as designed. Space itself tore open. Black holes the size of houses appeared in the middle of the Valorian formation. Ships caught in the rifts didn't explode. They simply crumpled like paper and vanished into nothing. 7 Valorian warships died in the first 30 seconds of battle. Target 1's laughter died in his throat. What are these weapons? How do these humans have this technology? More contacts, his sensor officer shouted. The human ships are launching fighters. Hundreds of small human fighters poured from the warships, swarming toward the confused Valorian fleet. Each fighter was barely large enough for one pilot, but they moved like angry wasps, dodging between the larger Valorian ships and targeting engines and weapons. Tactician Seo Guan coordinated the fighter wings from the Retribution's tactical station. Gold Squadron, hit their flagship's engines. Silver Squadron, take out their communications array. Bronze Squadron, clear a path for the boarding teams. The battle became chaos. Valorian ships tried to target the small human fighters, but they were too fast, too many. When the Valorians focused on the fighters, the human warships hit them with plasma cannons. When they turned to face the warships, the fighters struck again. It was like trying to fight a swarm of bees with a hammer. Another rift bomb detonated in the middle of 3 Valorian destroyers. All 3 vanished into the black hole it created. The remaining Valorian ships began to retreat toward the station, seeking the protection of its massive shields. Don't let them escape, Hyan ordered. Press the attack. On Korath Station, Target 1 watched his fleet die. 15 ships destroyed in less than an hour. This wasn't possible. Humans were supposed to be weak, primitives who got lucky once. But these ships, these weapons, they were far beyond what intelligence had reported. Send a distress signal to the Empire, Target 1 ordered. Tell them we're under attack by an advanced human fleet. Request immediate reinforcements. Before his communications officer could comply, a human fighter strafed the station's communication tower, destroying it. Target 1 realized with horror that the humans had planned this perfectly. They were cutting off his ability to call for help. The Retribution led the human fleet toward the station. Hyan knew they couldn't destroy it with rift bombs. The station was too large, its shields too strong. But they didn't need to destroy it. They needed to take it. Lieutenant Hana, you're cleared for boarding action, Hyan announced in the Retribution's hangar bay. Hana Bay and her 2,000 Marines prepared for battle. They wore powered armor scavenged and improved from Valorian designs. Each Marine carried enough firepower to level a building. They had trained for this moment for years. "Listen up," Hana shouted to her troops. "We have 3 objectives. 1. Neutralize all Valorian military personnel. 2. Free the slaves. 3. Capture any Valorian officers alive. Remember your training. Remember Earth. And remember, we show them the same mercy they showed us." Her Marines roared in response. The mercy the Valorians had shown was none at all. Boarding pods launched from the human ships, slamming into Korath Station's hull like bullets. The pods burned through the shields using focused plasma torches, then cut into the hull itself. Marines poured out, weapons blazing. The Valorian soldiers inside the station had never experienced an attack on their home territory. For centuries, they had been the attackers, the conquerors. Now, suddenly, they were the defenders. They grabbed weapons and tried to form defensive lines, but the human Marines were relentless. Hana led her team through the station's corridors. They moved like they had trained, covering each other, checking corners, eliminating threats. The Valorian soldiers were bigger and stronger individually, but the humans fought with a coordinated fury that overwhelmed them. In the slave quarters, a group of enslaved aliens huddled together in fear. They heard explosions and gunfire getting closer. They had seen conquering armies before. It always ended the same way for slaves like them, and a human Marine kicked in their door. The aliens cowered, expecting death. Instead, the Marine spoke in broken Galactic Standard. "We're here to free you. Come with us if you want to live. Or stay and help us fight." The slaves stared in shock. Someone was freeing them? Attacking the mighty Valorians? One slave, a creature with 6 legs and purple skin, asked the question on everyone's mind. "Who are you?" "We're humans," the Marine replied. "And we know what it's like to be attacked by the Valorians." Word spread through the slave quarters like wildfire. The humans were here to liberate them. Slaves who had been beaten down for years suddenly found hope. Some fled to safety. Others grabbed tools and makeshift weapons, joining the fight against their former masters. Target 1 watched his station descend into chaos on security monitors. Human Marines were everywhere. Worse, the slaves were rebelling. He had 15,000 Valorian soldiers, but they were scattered, confused, fighting on multiple fronts. He made one last attempt to salvage the situation. "All forces, fall back to the command center. We'll make our stand here." If he could hold out long enough, maybe reinforcements would arrive. But Commander Hyan had other plans. He broadcast a message on all Valorian frequencies, both military and civilian. His face appeared on every screen across Valorian space. "People of the Valorian Empire, I am Commander Hyan Lee of the human fleet. 15 years ago, your empire attacked Earth without provocation. You killed 4 billion of my people. You destroyed our cities. You thought we were weak, easy prey to be eliminated." Hyan paused, letting his words sink in. "You were wrong. We survived. We learned from your technology. We became stronger. And now we're here to deliver a message." Behind him, video showed the destruction of the Valorian fleet at Korath. It showed human Marines fighting through the station. It showed slaves rising up against their masters. "This is your only warning," Hyan continued. "Never come to human space again. We don't want your empire. We don't want your worlds. We want to be left alone. But if you attack us again, we will do to every Valorian world what you did to Earth. We will burn your cities. We will destroy your fleet. We will end your empire." He leaned closer to the camera. "Run while you still can." The broadcast ended. Across Valorian space, millions watched in shock. The Empire had ruled for 3,000 years, unchallenged and supreme. The idea that primitives could threaten them seemed impossible. Yet the evidence was undeniable. On Korath Station, Target 1 and his remaining officers surrendered 3 hours later. The human fleet had won a complete victory at the cost of only 2 ships destroyed and 300 Marines killed. They freed 200,000 slaves and captured thousands of Valorian soldiers. But the real victory wasn't the battle. It was the message. Humanity had proven it could strike back. And more importantly, it had proven it was willing to fight dirty, to learn, to adapt, and to never forgive. Emperor Valth sat on his throne, watching the broadcast from Korath Station for the 10th time. His 4 eyes burned with rage. His scales, normally a pleasant blue, had turned dark purple with anger. Around him, his council of advisors stood in terrified silence. No one wanted to speak first. 3,000 years, Valth said quietly. The quiet was more frightening than shouting would have been. For 3,000 years, our empire has ruled without challenge. We have conquered 47 species. We have never, in all our history, suffered a defeat like this. He crushed the armrest of his throne, the metal crumpling under his grip. And now these humans, these primitives who should have died 15 years ago, dare to attack us? Dare to threaten us? One advisor, braver or more foolish than the others, spoke up. Your Majesty, perhaps we should negotiate. The humans said they only want to be left alone. We could agree to a treaty. Valth turned his gaze on the advisor. You would have me show weakness? You would have me negotiate with insects who killed 10,000 of our soldiers. If we show weakness now, every conquered species in the Empire will rebel. We must crush the humans completely. We must make an example so terrible that no one will ever challenge us again. He stood from his throne, his massive form dominating the room. Assemble the Grand Fleet. I want 500 warships. I want our best commanders. I want enough firepower to turn every human world into glass. And this time, we don't stop until every last human is dead. 6 months later, Fleet Admiral Kravis led the largest Valorian armada ever assembled toward human space. 500 warships, each carrying thousands of soldiers. Kravis was the Empire's most decorated military leader, a veteran of 20 conquest campaigns. He had never lost a battle. On Mars, General Jiwan received intelligence reports about the approaching armada. The freed slaves from Korath Station had joined humanity's cause, bringing with them detailed knowledge of Valorian military capabilities. One of them, a creature named Talvin, served as her primary advisor on Valorian tactics. 500 ships, Jiwan said, studying the tactical display. We have 60. Even with their superior technology and tactics, those numbers were impossible. We can't win a direct battle, Tactician Siogwan agreed. He had returned from Korath Station, covered in glory, but he showed no pride now. Only grim determination. We need a different strategy. Jiwan made a decision that many would criticize. We evacuate the outer colonies. New Seoul, New Bizen, New Tokyo. Get everyone out. Then we turn those worlds into traps. Not everyone could leave. New Seoul, humanity's largest colony, had 3 million residents. The evacuation ships could only take 2 million. 1 million people would have to stay behind. Jiwan asked for volunteers to fight a guerrilla war if the Valorians invaded. Taiyang Song was the first to volunteer. He had been an engineer before the Valorian attack on Earth, designing buildings and bridges. Now he designed traps and ambushes. I'm staying, he told his wife and daughter as they boarded an evacuation ship. Someone has to make the Valorians pay for every inch of ground they take. His wife cried, but she understood. 15 years ago, she had lost her parents to the Valorians. Her daughter, born after the attack, had never known Earth. She only knew the stories of humanity's loss and the promise of revenge. "Kill them all, father," the daughter said. She was only 14, but her eyes were old. This was what the war had done to humanity's children. It had stolen their innocence and replaced it with cold hatred. Taiyang and 100,000 volunteers stayed behind on New Seoul. They were engineers, miners, farmers, teachers, all ordinary people who decided to become soldiers. They spent 2 months preparing for the Valorian arrival. Every building was rigged with explosives. Every street had hidden weapons caches. The entire city became a weapon aimed at the Valorians. Meanwhile, Commander Hyan led a different kind of mission. While the Valorian Grand Fleet approached human territory, he took 30 ships deep into Valorian space. His target was Thalax, an industrial world that produced 1/3 of the Empire's warships. "Speed is everything," Hyan told his crew as they approached Thalax. "We hit the shipyards, destroy everything we can, and leave before reinforcements arrive. We have 4 hours maximum." The attack on Thalax was brutal and efficient. Rift bombs destroyed orbital shipyards that had existed for centuries. Human fighters strafed factories on the planet's surface. In 4 hours, humanity destroyed construction facilities that would take the Valorians 10 years to rebuild. Then the human fleet vanished before Valorian defenders could mount an effective response. The message was clear. For every human world the Valorians attacked, humanity would burn 2 of theirs. Fleet Admiral Kravis arrived at New Seoul 3 weeks after Hyan's raid on Thalax. The colony looked peaceful from orbit, a gleaming city on a green world. Kravis smiled. Finally, an easy victory to wash away the shame of Korath. "Begin orbital bombardment," he ordered. "Destroy the city and land troops to confirm all humans are dead." But when his ships began firing, something strange happened. Their energy beams hit the city, but the explosions were far larger than expected. The humans had hidden explosives everywhere. When the bombardment triggered them, entire city blocks vanished in massive explosions. Kravis frowned. "What are they doing? Are they destroying their own city?" His tactical officer studied the readings. "Sir, the explosions are damaging our bombardment pattern. We can't achieve complete destruction from orbit. We'll need to send ground troops to secure the city." This was exactly what Taiyang wanted. He watched from a bunker deep underground as Valorian troop carriers descended toward the city. "Let them land," he told his fighters over the radio. "Let them get comfortable. Then we show them what humans do when we're defending our home." 50,000 Valorian soldiers landed in New Seoul, expecting to find a destroyed city and maybe a few survivors to kill. Instead, they found a nightmare. The humans had retreated into the ruins, turning the city into a maze of death. Snipers fired from buildings that seemed empty. Bombs exploded under marching columns. Traps killed soldiers in dozens of creative and horrible ways. The Valorians were better equipped and better trained individually. But they were fighting an enemy that knew every street, every building, every tunnel. The humans used guerrilla tactics perfected in 15 years of preparation. They struck and vanished like ghosts. Kravis grew frustrated. His soldiers controlled the surface, but they couldn't secure the underground tunnels. Every patrol that went below disappeared. Every building they cleared was retaken the next day. After 2 weeks, he had lost 5,000 soldiers and controlled nothing but rubble. "Forget the city," one of his officers suggested. "We'll glass the entire planet from orbit. Kill everyone, humans and our own soldiers if necessary." But Kravis's pride wouldn't allow it. He was the Empire's greatest general. He would not be defeated by primitives hiding in tunnels. "Send more troops. We'll dig them out one hole at a time." While Kravis wasted his army in New Seoul's ruins, humanity struck elsewhere. Small human fleets raided Valorian supply lines. They ambushed reinforcement convoys. They attacked mining colonies and agricultural worlds. Nothing was off limits. If it supported the Valorian war effort, humanity destroyed it. On the Valorian homeworld, Emperor Valth received daily reports of new disasters. Riots on conquered worlds. Supply shortages. Fear spreading through the civilian population. The humans were doing more than fighting a war. They were breaking the Empire's will to fight. This isn't a military campaign, one advisor told Valth. It's an insurgency. The humans are treating our entire empire the way they're treating New Sol. They're making us bleed from 1,000 cuts. In the tunnels beneath New Sol, Taiyang led his shrinking band of fighters. They had started with 100,000. Now only 30,000 remained. But they had killed 10 times that many Valorians. Every day, Kravis's army grew weaker, while the humans grew more desperate and more dangerous. One night, Taiyang recorded a message and transmitted it to human space. His face was dirty, covered in blood and ash. His voice was tired, but his eyes still burned with defiance. This is New Sol. We're still fighting. We've held them for 63 days now. They outnumber us 5-1. They have ships, tanks, air support. We have tunnels, bombs, and hatred. He smiled grimly. And you know what? We're winning. Because every day they waste here is another day. Humanity grows stronger elsewhere. He paused. If you're watching this and you're Valorian, know this. You can kill us all. You can destroy every human city. But you'll never make us surrender. You'll never make us afraid. And somewhere, somehow, other humans will survive and remember. And they'll come for you. The message went viral across human space and beyond. Freed slaves shared it. Resistance movements on conquered worlds watched it. The Valorians tried to suppress it, but it was too late. The galaxy was learning that humanity would never stop fighting. 1 year had passed since the siege of New Sol began. Taiyang Song was dead, killed in a tunnel collapse during the final days of fighting. But his resistance had accomplished its mission. The Valorians had wasted an entire year and 30,000 soldiers to take one city. The strategic cost was even higher. While Kravis's army bled in the ruins, the rest of the galaxy changed. General Jiwan Han stood before representatives of 17 different alien species. They had gathered secretly on a hidden space station in neutral territory. Each species had been conquered by the Valorians at some point in history. Each had suffered under the Empire's rule. And now, inspired by humanity's resistance, they were ready to fight back. We can't win alone, Jiwan told them. The Valorian Empire is too large, too powerful. But together, we can stand against them. Together, we can demand freedom. A representative from the Kelphans, a species enslaved 300 years ago, spoke up. You ask us to risk everything. The Valorians will destroy our worlds if we rebel. They'll destroy your worlds anyway, Jiwan replied. That's what empires do. They consume and destroy until nothing remains. Ask the 47 species they exterminated. Oh wait, you can't, because they're all dead. She let that sink in. Humanity was supposed to be number 48, but we survived. And we're offering you the same choice we made. Die on your knees, or die fighting for freedom. At least one death has meaning. The species deliberated. Some argued for caution. Others, especially the younger representatives who had grown up in slavery, demanded action. In the end, they voted. 17 species, representing dozens of worlds and billions of beings, formed the Coalition of Free Worlds. Humanity would lead it. Ambassador Somin Kwan became the coalition's voice. She was a survivor of the original attack on Earth, a diplomat who had spent 15 years learning alien languages and cultures. Now she used that knowledge to unite the oppressed. We're not asking the Valorian Empire to surrender, she broadcast to the galaxy. "We're not demanding tribute or revenge. We're asking for something simple. Leave us alone. Withdraw from all conquered territories. Allow free species to govern themselves. Grant independence to your slave worlds. This is your last chance to avoid total war." Emperor Valth watched her broadcast with 4 eyes full of contempt. "They dare to make demands of us? We who have ruled for 3,000 years. He turned to his military council. "How many ships does this coalition have?" Fleet Admiral Kravis, freshly returned from New Sol, reported grimly. "Our intelligence suggests approximately 900 warships, Your Majesty. The humans have built hundreds of new vessels using our captured technology. The other species have contributed their own fleets. And we have?" Valth demanded. 800 operational warships, Your Majesty. The raids on our shipyards and supply lines have delayed production, and we've lost ships faster than we can replace them." For the first time in his long reign, Valth felt something unfamiliar, uncertainty. But he was emperor. He could not show weakness. "Assemble every ship we have. Call in vessels from border patrols, from garrison duty, from everywhere. I want our entire fleet in one place." "Your Majesty," one advisor cautioned, "if we pull ships from the frontier, conquered worlds may rebel. Then we crush the rebels after we destroy the coalition," Valth snapped. "First we end this threat, then we restore order. There is no alternative. If we negotiate now, the Empire falls. We must win decisively." The 2 fleets met in deep space, far from any star system. It was the largest gathering of military force the galaxy had ever seen. On one side, the Valorian Empire's 800 ships, representing 3,000 years of conquest and pride. On the other, the Coalition's 900 ships, representing desperation and hope. Admiral Junho An commanded the Coalition fleet from the bridge of the Abraham Lincoln, humanity's newest super battleship. He had been a junior officer during the first Valorian attack on Earth. Now he was one of humanity's finest military minds. "All ships, maintain formation," he ordered. "Don't break ranks. We fight as one, or we die alone." The Valorian fleet advanced in their traditional battle formation, a massive wedge designed to punch through enemy lines. They had used this formation successfully for centuries. They saw no reason to change, but Juno had studied every Valorian battle in their history. He knew their tactics, their formations, their strategies. "Wait for it," he told his fleet. "Let them commit to the attack." The space between the fleets shrank. Minutes until weapons range. Both sides armed their weapons, powered shields, prepared for the bloodiest battle in galactic history. Soldiers on both sides whispered prayers to their various gods. This would be the battle that decided everything. Then something unexpected happened. Every sensor on every ship suddenly screamed warnings. Massive energy signatures detected throughout Valorian space. Not from the fleet. From their homeworlds,